Welcome back to Simply Sakura, my friends. I hope you are all doing well today. My name is Gary Sakura, and this is my MotoVlog and True Crime stories. I simply drive around on my motorbike and tell true crime stories. If you're new here, greetings, and I'm so glad that you stopped by. If you're interested in true crime and love seeing a different, unique type of motovlog, then I suggest that you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my true crime stories. It's a nice and chilly day. Absolutely a great morning for a ride. The temperature reading on my display at this moment reads 53 degrees. I know that's cold for most folks here in Florida, but as you can see, I am nice and bundled up with my riding jacket and full face helmet. I am as toasty as a piece of pumpernickel bread. By the way, did you know that the word pumpernickel means farting devil or devil's fart? TMI? Okay, anyway, today I will have 2 crime stories for you guys. I do hope that you're all enjoying this new motovlog and true crime concept. It's been a lot of work, but I honestly have been enjoying doing this. I've had quite a few questions from people asking me if I have a teleprompter built into my helmet to help tell the stories. I can assure you, I don't use anything. It takes me a good week to put together one motovlog and true crime video. I spend a good day researching crime stories. Then I will usually spend another day putting together a script. The key part for me is I will spend a good full 2 days remembering that script I wrote. Then once I know the script and feel comfortable with it, I will go out for a ride and simply tell the crime stories. Afterwards, I will start editing the video, and that usually takes a good full day. So from start to finish, you're looking at anywhere from 6 to 7 days. I wish I was like a major YouTuber where I had a full team to do all the work for me, because then I could put out more videos other than just on a weekly basis. But with everyone's help, maybe I can get there. With that, let's start with our first crime story. A 911 call from a College Station, Texas mother said that her 2-year-old daughter had gone missing in the local city park. The police have launched a massive search and rescue operation, including at least 163 people, including police and first responders. But the urgent search for their 2-year-old, prompted by the mother's frantic 911 call, turned into a dark turn after police officers discovered a life-size doll dressed in clothing identical to what the mother said her child was wearing in a garbage can across the street from the city park where the mother had parked her car. As police investigators unraveled the mother's claim, they learned the 2-year-old had died days earlier before she was even reported missing. The mother, Tiandra Christian, 21, pictured here, had recently returned home in College Station, Texas, after a trip to Houston, Texas, to visit her boyfriend. Friends said in the time period that was later discovered to be just after the toddler's death, said they had seen Christian carting around what they thought was her 2-year-old daughter. And then surveillance video from the local Walmart showed footage of Christian pushing what appeared to be her 2-year-old daughter in a stroller. After the police found the doll, they learned Christian created and carried around the doll following her visit from Texas, pretending it was her baby. Christian and her 2-year-old daughter, along with the third person, Kenny Deshawn Hewitt, were staying together in a Houston hotel. Hewitt and Christian left the room to get some food and returned about 30 minutes later. When they came back to the room, the child was crying hysterically. To quiet the 2-year-old, Christian and Hewitt hit the toddler in the legs, arms, and face with a belt. Hewitt then began beating the child when he claimed that Christian, the mother, wasn't hitting the child hard enough. Hewitt, the boyfriend, resumed the beating himself. Christian told police she noticed her daughter slipping in and out of consciousness, to which she and Hewitt responded by placing the 2-year-old in a bathtub, hoping to revive her. While lifting her from the tub, Christian said she noticed the child had allegedly been sexually abused. With the 2-year-old girl cold to the touch, Christian, the mother, told police that she and Hewitt, her boyfriend, used a hairdryer in an effort to warm the infant up. But the hairdryer ended up burning the 2-year-old's skin. The 2-year-old died that night in the hotel room, the mother said. The mother hid the baby inside a plastic bag in the backseat of her car for 3 days before she and her boyfriend, Hewitt, wrapped the bag entirely with rope, and then they tied a heavy rock to it. Christian later led authorities 140 miles away to where her daughter's remains, which were recovered by a dive team, and immediately identified the 2-year-old on the scene. A medical examiner testified at Christian's trial, saying that the injuries that caused the 2-year-old's bruising would have not been enough to cause her to die, but was otherwise unable to determine a true cause that might have led to the homicide. Jurors deliberated for about 20 minutes before finding Christian guilty of putting the body of her 2-year-old child into a trash bag and attempting to sink it in a Texas City lake. Tegan Christian received the maximum punishment of 20 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Christian, 21, was found guilty of tampering with a human corpse of her 2-year-old daughter. Christian will be eligible for parole after serving at least 5 years. Parole after at least 5 years seems a tad bit too lenient for what she did. What do you guys think? I don't understand, because Tiandra received a 20-year sentence. How is it possible that this mother is given a far too lenient sentence for murdering her 2-year-old daughter? It's not like it was a petty crime. Our next true crime story takes place in Carbondale, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania State Police said a 53-year-old man, David Majalla, dependent on his 60-year-old wife, Catherine Majalla, to take care of him, was covered completely in kitty litter instead of being properly cared for. Here is a picture of Catherine Majalla. Police said David Majalla was brought to the hospital with broken bones and covered in his own feces, urine, and kitty litter. David also had a large rotting sore on his back that a nurse described as a sore being so deep it almost left his spine visible. Ouch! Just saying that brings me instant pain. Can you imagine having a sore so untreated that it causes your skin to just simply melt away like that? I'm sure the kitty litter certainly didn't help with keeping any bacteria away. What do you guys think? Chime in on this. Anyway, medical staff at the hospital told police that David was suffering from urine scalds and bed sores, in addition to broken bones. The ER doctor said the wound on David's back would have developed over the course of weeks, saying that his back wounds alone would have killed him. Medical personnel say David was further found to be covered in urine scalds. He was also malnourished and dehydrated, which could have left David with a weakened immune system. Urine scalding is basically your pee burning your own skin. It usually affects the legs, genital, and tummy areas. Trooper said David had previously suffered a stroke, and he was dependent on his wife Catherine for care, transportation, and management of his finances. Get this. After being struck by an ATV, police said David made it home. He laid on a couch inside the house. And over the course of the weeks leading up to David being brought to the ER, he eventually had fallen onto the floor, where he remained there until paramedics finally took him to the hospital. Police say Catherine Maijala began putting kitty litter on David while he was laying on the floor because he was defecating on himself. And he became impossible to care for, and get this, she said he was ruining the house. Hold on. I just have something to say here. Take a look at the actual picture of David and Catherine's home. Now, you tell me, and I might be crazy here, but you think that David being completely immobilized, covered in kitty litter, was really the main reason why the house looks like it's in complete ruins? I don't think so. The way the house looks to me kind of reminds me of a horror movie. I honestly think it took decades, and not David lying in the middle of the room covered in kitty litter. Anyone else want to chime in on this? Anyway, David told police he couldn't call for help because he couldn't move and his cell phone was out of service. David was completely dependent on his wife for care. Police say Catherine brought her husband food, water, and pain relievers, but she never called 911 because she said, quote, David was a hard person to deal with. Trooper said David had recently fallen onto the floor, where he remained there until paramedics took him from the home. Paramedics responded to the home for a patient with hip pain, and upon entering the home, they found human waste and garbage throughout the entire home. Poor David was found on the floor, completely covered in kitty litter with a bed sheet. Well, at least she gave her husband a bed sheet, right? Catherine is now facing several charges, including felony neglect of a care-dependent person. Dave, unfortunately, ended up dying a month later at the hospital. Poor guy. Anyway, this concludes today's Motovlog and True Crime Stories with Simply Sakura. I do hope you found these stories interesting today. There are plenty more Motovlog and True Crime stories coming very soon. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. And like always, if you have any comments, I highly encourage that you leave them down below. Thanks again for watching. Merry Christmas, everyone, and I'll see you soon.